In the 90s, they used to push boundaries with movies and they do just gross things on screen. An adult now, I can never forget being a teenager and watching Requiem for a Dream, that arty, fantastic movie. And they had that really nasty scene in it with two ladies. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. That stuff burns into your memory forever. You can't remove that. You lose your innocence when you see things like that. And that's part of, I think, the goal of Hollywood and their satanic agenda that they have for pretty much everything going on right now. Now, while that was something in the 90s that like you'd see sparingly in a film here or there where you'd just be like, oh gosh, this is awful. And then there'd be backlash against them for it. Like people would actually be like, this is horrible. You shouldn't be producing content like this. They'd actually get shamed for it. That doesn't happen anymore. Every single TV show, every single movie now just has wanton acts of degeneracy in everything. And now The Last of Us is really pushing that boundary once again. We're going to get to this in just a second. My name is John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author and award-winning comic creator. This is my Flying Sparks Ultralight Beams, and there's no degeneracy in here. This is a very PG comic. By any standard today, we're doing pretty well. We've got a little bit of violence, but I think by Marvel movie standards, it's actually lighter on that level too. And we're just trying to bring the culture back. That's what we're trying to do. And we're making comic books. Eventually, I'd love to make films. If you got a producer or something who wants to option my stuff, let me know. But Flying Sparks right now is our epic superhero sort of offering here. People have been asking for superhero books. We're doing this. We're building an alternative to Marvel and DC and everything that they're doing in the culture. And I hope you'll enjoy it. Go check this out on Kickstarter. There's only 6 days left. Just hit $16,000 today. So thank you so much for the support, everybody. We really appreciate it. All right. The story of the day is Last of Us actress Bella Ramsey tells critics to get used to acts of grave depravity that are and will be heavily pushed in the show. This is by John F. Trent, editor of Bounding Into Comics, the best news source for pop culture out there. Here it is. She told viewers to avoid watching the show if they're not comfortable with viewing sinful acts of grave depravity. Well, I've avoided watching the show, and it's because I've heard of everything going on with it. It's being dubbed the gay zombies show for a good reason. And everything I've heard about it is just that they're pushing that LGBTQ agenda all the way up and down this show. And they're not just being like, quiet about it. They're really like getting in your face with like actual very graphic scenes in that regard. And so it's something that, I don't want to watch because listen, you are what you input into yourself, right? I mean, if you eat fast food and you're just like really greasy, your skin's going to be really greasy. It's going to be things like that. Same thing with what you consume content wise. And so I've never really liked zombie stuff or dark things like that anyway. Just starting from that vantage point, you're consuming evil. You're making yourself in a headspace where you feel bad. And I try not to watch that stuff anyway. I'm not trying to judge you if that's what you're into. But you know what? For me, I just definitely don't want to fill myself with that headspace. Now, when you get into this stuff like here, when you're getting these wanton acts of depravity along with it, it is training your mind that these things are cool. It's training your mind like pornography trains your mind into this is normal. This is the bar. This is what gets you aroused at this point. And what it does is very insidious on that level because it goes even further. When this happens, all right, it gets to a point where it's going to be desensitizing to you. So you have to get that rush being even crazier on the next one. So it's a big weird thing that becomes a cycle of just like evil depravity. And it gets you in a spot where you're starting to think about that stuff all the time. That's why these shows have to get worse and worse and worse. Game of Thrones used to be that bar for that shock therapy. And now it's even higher with The Last of Us. So she continues here speaking with GQ magazine. She says, I know people will think what they want to think, but they're going to have to get used to it. If you don't want to watch the show because it has gay storylines, because it has a trans character, that's on you. You're missing out. So you see how they phrase this. Like, so instead of, just, talking about just like how awful these acts are and how this does impact you, they just make it about the identity. They say, oh, you just don't like this person. You're a bigot if you don't like this. And that's how they try to like just slowly push that Overton window of the culture forward to where you accept increasingly more gruesome things. And you know where it went in 2022 with all the grooming and drag story hours and things like that. This is the first step in that. It's going further as it goes along. And honestly, yes, the answer that she says here is actually correct. Don't watch it because you shouldn't have to get used to it. You shouldn't have to make this stuff the normal in your lives. It is not normal. It's not okay. And this pushing of this from Hollywood is an obvious attempt in order to corrupt our culture and destroy young minds. That's really all this is. And that's why we fight back, guys. That's why we're here. That's why we're reporting on this stuff. That's why you need to know what's being pushed in the agenda on your TV. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit that like and subscribe button. And make sure to back Flying Sparks Ultralight Beams, the alternative to this kind of culture, on Kickstarter right now. Thank you.